snacks.
What to do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Jokes and Sin, and you are now tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today we are going to do a recap of our weekend at AwesomeCon, which was a great time. We're going to talk a bit about the legacy of Akira Toriyama in the wake of his loss, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite women in pop culture. Before we do that, Jokes has a job to do. And what that means is that he will get his link for beacons up in the chat for everyone so that they can find us, which we try to make it easy to do by being in many places at once. They say you can't be in more than one place at a time. It's not true.
That's what they say.
Right now, we are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Kick. Supposed to be Instagram, but it didn't work out. We're working on that. We're figuring that out. Sin has a job to do, so we're gonna let him do that.
Yeah, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, and Kermit Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
What up to all the people who patronize us, monetarily or not? Really helps us. But what else really helps us is hitting like, dropping comments, hitting subscribe, sharing our content, commenting on our content. Things of that nature. Super duper helpful. Anything that helps get us in front of more eyes on more screens is super helpful. And so anything that you might do to help do that, we're all for. Sin, they're starting you in OnlyFans. I heard it.
Good evening. Oh,
what?
Oh,
what up, man?
Saying you weren't gonna say nothing.
Indeed, Perk. What it is, Perk. AwesomeCon. We spent the better part of the last 3 days trouncing around the Washington Convention Center, the Walter E. Washington Convention Center, I should say. With tons of like-minded individuals who were there to see a lot of pop culture happenings. I don't know about you all, but AwesomeCon felt different this year to me. Would you agree?
A little bit.
Okay. Jokes is not certain enough to vocalize.
For us, I feel like that we did the typicals, but I guess with what certain things that were going on around us, maybe I guess would be the way to say. But otherwise, I think it was typical.
Okay. It felt the same to you. Interesting. Saying why do you feel like it felt different?
I think it was just the energy in the air behind Rosario Dawson being there and Christian Haydenson being there. It just seemed like it was
Hayden Christensen. My man just gave my man a whole new, just twist his name all up. Christian Haydenson. Well,
y'all knew what I meant.
Vader Darth, y'all.
But it just felt like it was, I don't know, it was a little bit more chaotic in that type of area of the convention, and just with the long lines and the people standing everywhere, it just seemed a little chaotic on that kind of side of things. Our side of stuff felt relatively normal, besides the usual stuff we hear from people, like not being like placed in terrible places where they usually wouldn't be and stuff like that. I think that's the reason why it just felt different for me. Just everything surrounding them being the stars at the convention that everybody was coming out to see. It just felt like it was a little bit bigger but messier.
It's interesting. I mean, I honestly don't feel like. I feel like it was different. I think that the difference in what I saw this year, like this year, I don't feel like had bigger stars than stars that have previously been at Awesome Con. What I do think is that there was a lot more crossover between those stars, it felt like. And so Rosario Dawson kind of sat at the center of that. Because it was like Rosario Dawson is here, but so are like Tara Reid, like the other two people from Josie and the Pussycats are also here. So there's like, you might be in line to do a solo autograph or get a solo picture taken with Rosario, but then there's also a time frame and a line for people who want to take a picture with Rosario and the other two people from Josie and the Pussycats. And then there's also Rosario, who's in Star Wars, and Hayden is here from Star Wars. And so then there's also a line for Rosario and Hayden Christensen together. And then there's also, they're doing a panel together, and people want to go do that. Like, there was a lot of it that was kind of centered around her because she was tied to so many of the other things that were also happening at the convention. So I feel like that caused a lot of backup. Like, there were just people who, her name was at the forefront of the number of people who waited a ridiculous amount of time to get autographs and so forth, because she was behind, because they just had her doing so many different things. So I feel like that's part of what it was. Like, I feel like their attendance was up, but that the show floor and the layout of the show floor felt less busy. But I also feel like that was because people were stuck in lines. Like, there were people who waited in lines for 3 hours, 7 hours.
7 hours.
You waited in line for 7 hours. You did nothing else. Like, there is no, like, you can't do anything. That's the entire time the floor is open that day. Like, that's crazy. And it means you can't spend any other money. And it is a little wild to think that you would pay to get into a convention for the convention, and then also pay to get an autograph or take a picture. And that basically meant you just paid to stand in line to take a picture because you just couldn't do anything else.
Agreed.
That's a little wild. I mean, I had a good time.
Same.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like I had a good time. There were definitely a lot of people.
It's a good time. We had a good time. Turn out the panel. That was good. Good to catch up with Ellis beforehand. Before we got in there. Talk wrestling and stuff. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Overall, hands down, had a good time. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I had a chat with Ellis before and kind of after the convention. Always good to see the homie. Good to see everybody. Dr. D and Joe Colton and Shady and Laney and Joe and Penny and Jerry. Special shout out to Jerry for joining us for the panel this year.
Yes.
I'm glad that he enjoyed it. We got some really good feedback from people about, just what it meant to them and how they felt, and feeling like we were able to help some people. So that's cool. What up, Zay? Yeah. So that definitely, I think, was a good thing. Again, I definitely feel like we could have benefited from having the full 90 minutes.
Agreed.
Of course, yeah.
you know, that we normally get. But for me, that's probably the biggest downer was not having a full 90 minutes. Um, I will say that I'm not really having con withdrawal.
No, not the
Mm,
typical. I feel like when we leave some comes, yeah, not didn't really have it this time. Was tired, but that's about it.
It's just age, bro.
actually, I might be sick, so I might have got some con crud.
No,
He
that's
got that.
con crud.
Yeah, I'm about to say I
Yeah,
might got some con
he got
crud.
the con crud.
Yeah, that's con crud. You know, it happens. What you should have did was came home Sunday night and got you some of that crown
See,
chicken and
and it
waffle,
got
bro.
some tea to go along with it.
Uh, yeah. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, Andrew?
He went to
Oh, Galacticon.
Galacticon.
Okay.
Very different.
Very different. How so? That's I feel like a little bit more of a sci-fi. What up, G? A little bit more of a sci-fi convention,
Sounds like
I
it.
do believe. Um, yeah,
Hey.
I talked to a lot of people, made some good connections, have some big plans. Um, added a convention to the schedule, y'all. What up, Heather? Put a new show on the convention docket for next month,
Right.
no doubt. You know, that's work. Is what it is. Overall, I enjoyed the convention. Sen, would you bring home from the convention? Anything cool? Did you get anything?
I got a poster. That was like the only thing I bought.
What was it?
Of course, right?
Oh, my man wasn't prepared. Oh,
So sit right here. Oh, I got this.
One, that's a big bag. Let's start with that. It's a big bag.
But I got this Rhea Ripley piece of art.
So weak, dog. Your weakness.
No hate.
It was so great to like watch you melt in place.
as soon as we saw that, it was like
Like
that
dog,
was
no.
hidden away.
Hey, listen, no bull. We're at Joe's table, right? And like this table is next to him, and they got a giant Spider-Man piece right at the front of the table. And I'm like, nope. Look behind that joint. Sure enough, that mommy. And I'm like, you know, you're not gonna find nothing else. You gotta get it.
Mhm. You were
Yeah.
thinking about
Yeah.
you were thinking about not getting it.
I was.
And what was the response the dude said when he gave you that,
He hit me
John?
with the classic line. Oh, there's only one left. Well, I guess I got to do it. Give it to me.
Man, it wasn't the joint off the display, right? I mean,
No.
technically, there was two.
No, it took a while for him to find it in the back, so it's probably like the last one that he had, like there, whatever. Besides the one he had hanging up. Yeah. So
You was
Leave
gonna
that
walk
joint
away.
behind.
You was like, I'll come back, and I was like, you better not. You know how it goes. If you walk away, it's
yeah,
not gonna be here when you come back.
it'll make its way into the background at some point. It's got to. It's got to.
Well, why wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's got to. Come on,
Yeah,
Rhea.
why wouldn't it?
There's a good old spot right there between the Straw Hat Pirate logo and Luffy
Well,
right there.
I think I got 3 Luffy's up. One can come down, you know what I mean, and a Rhea can go up. You know, it's
My man is sacrificing the Luffy. It's serious.
hey, it's Rhea. You know, it's what about it do? You know, follow the rules.
I wish I could roll my eyes across the internet. Bro. Like, I can just pull them joints out.
We
and
know,
roll
G.
my eyes
Trust us.
across the
We
internet.
know.
Yeah,
And the hype-
G,
and the hype is
WrestleMania's
real.
coming. That's a fact. Jokes, you didn't pick up anything, huh?
I didn't get any like artwork or anything. I got awesome con
What up, Candy?
swag. So like I got like this like shoulder bag, like with the one arm sling on here. The plan is now that like with this the clip that they have on front, I'm gonna get the one for my camera so I can actually like clamp my camera on the front of this, but just something slight. So like I keep this right here on my chest, like charger, all that good stuff, like right on me if I want to. So something different.
You are very excited about that bag. I did pick up a couple pieces. I got this piece. Ricky Chenoweth did that piece. It's actually on canvas. I'm not gonna pick it up. Got the Diana and the Hero's Journey signed by Penny. I had the book already.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot the book so that I could have Penny sign it. So I had to buy another book, which is fine. So I could have her. And Jerry, and the franchise throw their signatures on it. Picked up this dope. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna put it, but I picked up this dope X-Men piece from Jerry since he worked on X-Men 97, and that's getting ready to drop. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot going on with that, but now I got a signed piece by somebody who worked on the show, which is really cool. And for some reason, they fired the creator of the show,
Yeah.
like last week. And I would talk about it, but I'm not gonna. Andrew said it's in a high school gym, more local artists. A Girl Scout troop was there. So that got my money. Now,
Got them.
cookies, sir? I went and got them scout cookies, trefoils. What we doing? What kind of damage did we do? Got this piece from Penny. Just typical gorgeous Penny artwork. Got a sneak attack of a couple of pieces from Jerry. This Miles piece, which is the antithesis of this Miles piece from the movie. So both pretty cool. Picked up this John Normus Marvel Anatomy book, signed by the illustrator Jonah Loeb, who we shot an interview with. So look forward to that. Got to get some really good information about his new property he's working on called Quiet Level 1. Really excited about that and looking forward to possibly doing some work with Jonah in the future. If you're not familiar with Marvel Anatomy, I highly recommend, if you just search it on YouTube, Jonah has a YouTube channel that has a breakdown, but basically if you kind of look at this center image, you can see that there's a breakdown of like Wolverine's inner working, and so it's literally done like an anatomy book, with cross sections, illustrated by Jonah, that show like the inner workings of different Marvel characters, like this piece on the Hulk, where you can see like the musculature and so forth, and like cross sections, just like an anatomy book. It's pretty dope. I mean, Ultron is in here, Sandman is in here, Abomination is in here. It's really dope, beautiful work. Storm, Angel, Nightcrawler, Throg, Howard the Duck. Of course, many versions of Spider-Man are in this book, with like some very interesting breakdowns of their bodies, the structure, how it works. If you ever wanted to see what like Thanos looks like in a cross section, like it's just some of the most beautiful and intricate work. And so the YouTube channel is kind of like a deep dive into like the process and how they did it all and that kind of thing. So really dope, really cool. A couple of other things that we won't show off right at the moment, but overall, good time, good haul, great networking. Awesome Con was a good time and a success. I would wager to say. Yeah. So now we are officially like a month and a day away from our next convention, which is now Big Lick. It looks like but we pretty much got confirmation from the owner while we were at Awesome Con. So it looks like Big Lick. We're coming to Chantilly. We're gonna be at the Dulles Expo Center. We have Maryland Day coming up, not this weekend, but the following weekend. I'll be doing some hosting. It's gonna be, again, it's gonna stay busy. Now, Jokes, do you have any last thoughts on Awesome Con?
Solid time, like we always make it when we go in there. I can't wait till next year once again.
How soon can we expect to see the first interviews go live?
You got a couple of them already up, so just need to go and add details. You could drop those as early as tomorrow morning if you decided to.
Well. Sounds like tomorrow. I like it. Sin, any final thoughts on Awesome Con?
Overall, it was great. Like I mentioned, I enjoyed the conversation I had with Ellis, like him telling me, like him expecting me to be doing wrestling and talking about it like he would have saw coming. And he's looking forward to just see like
him expecting you to do wrestling?
Like not expecting me to like get into it so heavy and doing content and all that kind of stuff, like surrounding wrestling, doing predictions and all that kind of stuff. Like he was blown away.
That's just because he didn't know.
And he's looking forward about the past.
He just didn't know. Like, for real, at the time that you were heavy into wrestling in the early 2000s, I was hanging out with Ellis. And you didn't know Ellis yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Ellis was a huge, huge wrestling fan. And me and him and Dante used to talk wrestling all the time because at the time, I was also heavy into it, which was your fault. But not just you and your brother. You and both. So he just didn't know that, like, even though, like, y'all knew of each other, didn't really know each other. Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
Don't worry, he'll pay it himself. If one of us could find out, we just let it tell. Hey.
Let me tell you something, Andrew. If this man can pay to have women step on him at a convention, he can pay his own way to get a signature from Rhea Ripley. Period. Full stop. Done. That's all there is to it. Now, if you would like to start a fund to have Sin stepped on, body slammed, clotheslined, or thrown by Rhea Ripley, I'm all in. We get them beat up. Chair shots.
Hey,
you name it.
Mommy's always on top.
Let's see. Wonderful job with the panel, gents. Definitely should be longer. People really seem to enjoy it. Bravo. Thank you, Candace. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. All right, so look, let's go from a good time to a not so good time, but we need to take a moment to celebrate the life and legacy of Akira Toriyama, who, for those of you who may not be aware, is not just the creator of Dragon Ball, but like many other properties along those lines. But the Dragon Ball is easily
the biggest one,
at least in the US, the most popular. Dragon Quest is crazy outside of here and in Japan, where Akira is from. And as a manga creator, that's what I'm talking about, G. That's what I'm talking. See, that's what I'm talking about. Now we're talking. Lock Sin in a rage room and just let, you know what I'm saying? Mommy go, you know what I mean? Because her and Don about to break up anyway. Call it. I called it. Telling you, it's over. You know what I'm saying? It's a little, they just be releasing pictures of her with other dudes at UFC fights.
Her fiance?
and then yeah, which is like, but then they don't, but then they give him no, like they don't give him no, like they don't even mention Slim. It's terrible.
They can't because he's AEW. That's the only reason why. But yeah, it's funny though to see it.
It don't matter. It don't matter. You know, Dom get married. They about to bring all of that into the joint because they gotta have something else to fight. The bloodline joint about to be over. They gotta have some new. So
that bloodline not going to end.
Sure it is. It has to. It's going
like
to
in another year.
I don't even think it's gonna take that long. I keep it a buck. I don't think it's gonna take that long. But listen, I digress because I don't watch. I'm just here. That's all. Just paying attention. I'm watching what they doing. You know what I mean? I'm looking at the business. Y'all look at the antics. Looking at the business. It's time to flip something. Akira Toriyama. We spent some time exactly. Who is that? Exactly. We spent some time at the convention talking to people about, you know, what Akira Toriyama meant to them, what they would say to him if he, you know, if they could, what they would say to him. And most of the feedback was the same. Wouldn't you would agree, Sin?
Yeah, it was.
But I'll take a minute, and you know, now to give, you know, jokes. I'll start with you a moment to kind of just speak on how you feel about Akira Toriyama and his legacy, and kind of, you know, what it means.
Yeah, definitely. For me, Dragon Ball was probably the biggest thing next to Power Rangers from my childhood growing up with. So you know, hearing that he passed was like that was one of those that really hurt. As much as I've never met Akira, this is just, you know, through his work, I'm just, it's like this dude has been with me since being a child. So obviously, like, I didn't play Dragon Quest like that. Blue Dragon, I did play, did never finished it.
Terrible.
But for me, Dragon Ball was my biggest inspiration. One of the things that got me in my earlier ages actually starting to figure out how to draw. And, you know, I would draw Dragon Ball characters no matter how good or how bad it was. But this dude had me on the point of trying to create my own characters and do stuff within that world. And I would say, you know, it was like Dragon Ball had a huge impact on growing up. I definitely attempted to try to go Super Saiyan as a kid multiple times, maybe even as an adult as well too. Probably.
I'm glad you brought that up. Why did you do that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I that was one of those things, you know, just see, especially as a kid, just seeing it on screen that you're like, oh, maybe I can go ahead and I could do that too. But definitely, you know, speaking of that, that's probably one of my favorite moments from Dragon Ball was honestly that Goku going Super Saiyan for the first time. Me kind of, I don't want to say just getting into anime kind of at that point, but establishing and knowing exactly what it was. Seeing something like that on screen was a little bit different than what I've been used to in watching normal cartoons and things like that. Especially for the way that I actually ended up seeing it. Because here in the States, obviously, it took forever to get over here. I was watching the Namek Saga, but I found the international channel, which was showing Dragon Ball Z, but ahead of where we were in America. So I had seen Goku in his Super Saiyan form, not knowing it was actually Goku. It was one of those weird things. And then when he powered down, I was like, what has happened in the whatever episodes I've never seen or there for it? So that was one of those moments. And then once I finally was able to see it and how it came about, that was the moment. But Dragon Ball Z, watched that first, then went back to Dragon Ball. I kind of did obviously Dragon Ball came out way before I would even have been able to see it. But overall, it hurts. It is a void. But definitely, I want to. Hopefully, his legacy and his work will continue to be able to inspire others for decades to come.
Sin?
Celebrity deaths don't really affect me like that. There's only been a couple times in my life where it has, and it was once when Michael Jackson passed and when Paul Walker passed. For me, just personally, just uh, and this has been the third time where a celebrity death has really like got to me. Like I fell in love with Dragon Ball Z before I even read a panel or seen an episode or anything from Wizard magazine. In the back of them selling like Japanese toys and stuff like that, and I would see those figures, and I thought they were the coolest things in the world. I knew nothing about them. I just liked the design of the characters and how they looked and everything, and I ended up getting my hand on a Vegeta one. And I loved the thing. I didn't know nothing about Vegeta at the time or nothing like that. I just knew that it was from a show called Dragon Ball. And when we finally ended up getting it in the States, I remember at my father's house, I wanted to make sure I woke up and caught this. I wanted to see what this was all about. And it came on at 8 o'clock, and I woke up at like 8:23. The sun was coming through the blinds and everything, waking me up. I'm like, oh my God, I'm late. I really want to watch this. So I ran over to TV, cut it on, and it was a Vegeta saga. And Vegeta was trying to destroy Gohan by shooting a bunch of blasts in the air, and he was backflipping. And like for the 5 minutes I got to watch it, I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. What in the world is going on here? And that just started me down that path of I need to track down Dragon Ball Z tapes, whatever I can, to see more of this and see what happens next. And I can't thank him enough for that property. I don't talk about it enough, but I really am a huge Dragon Ball fan. I mean, I have a Dragon Ball. Went to Japan, got it when I was there. Had posters. I took them down there, but I had them sit up here to look at Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan. Like I genuinely do love Dragon Ball Z, and he just showed me from storytelling standpoint, like how big and creative, like this, it's within your imagination. Like there's nothing that can stop that. Like you see this massive world where these big stakes are on the line, where the planet's in danger, and they're powering up and shooting beams, and you've never seen nothing like that before, and it was just incredible. And there's a dog police chief, which makes no sense, but okay, we're gonna rock with it. There's Tyrannosaurus Rexes rocking around, like okay, we're gonna rock with it. But like just the impact that show had on not just me, not just jokes, but like the entire world. Like we don't have anime in the States today the way it is now without Akira Toriyama and Dragon Ball Z. Like it's the reason why they keep putting out the same game pretty much over and over, just with different gameplay mechanics, but the exact same story. We all know how it starts, we all know how it ends, but we go flock to the stores whenever a new game comes out. We buy it all up because it's that much of an iconic piece of work. I get it. People nowadays want to go back and probably look at Dragon Ball Z who weren't there when it was on and might want to critique it and criticize, like, oh, it's just the same thing over and over. Yeah, but this was like the first of its kind. Like when we're doing something like that. And without this, we don't have One Piece. We don't have Attack on Titan, Bleach. We don't have the big three. We don't have none of that stuff we're getting now without Toriyama and Dragon Ball Z. And seeing the outwork of love from his peers, from his students like Kishimoto and like Oda, and saying their piece and how they felt has been so good to see. Even him passing, before him passing, saying he was going to leave Goku to the voice actor, I can't think of her name right now, but the one who's been doing Goku since the beginning, leave Goku to her to carry it on and carry the legacy. I know she's hurt by it. Like, it's just, there's not enough I can say about Dragon Ball Z. How much I love it. Like, yeah.
It's tough, man. Hold on to it. You know what I mean? I know it means a lot to you. I don't have there aren't any properties that I hold that dearly. Personally.
Joe, do
I
you have a
just
favorite moment?
he said it.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
he did?
Super Saiyan, him going.
Oh, when
So,
Super Saiyan for the first
Yeah,
time.
the two super. Honestly, it's two Super Saiyan moments. So obviously the one of going Super Saiyan for the first time, but then it's also the Super Saiyan 3 for the first time. I think those are probably SS3 transformation for the very first time was just insane. And him kind of demonstrating the different levels to Super Saiyan to Majin Buu. He was just buying time.
Yeah.
While Trunks was trying to get the Dragon Radar. But this dude, like, honestly, he could have ended the fight right then and there, but he wanted the kids to be able to take over and them be the heroes at the time. He should have took care of business right then and there, but he didn't. But
Classic Goku. Yeah. Yeah. That's because my favorite moment seems it's I never hear anybody mention this moment, and it just might be me and my weird self. But to this day, it's still one of the coldest things I've ever seen in anything. And it's in the Majin Buu saga, where people are dead. Goku, whatever, they're all dead. And everybody's at the tower hiding out from Majin Buu and trying to make a plan. He finds them and he comes up there. I need somebody to fight. What's up? They're like, give us some time. We'll get somebody for you to fight. So Piccolo leaves him with an hourglass to just, when the sand goes down, we're ready to fight. So this dude sits down, right? He just staring into the glass, waiting for the sand to go down. I ain't talking to him. And Chi-Chi decides to take her happy ass over there and slaps Majin Buu. You killed Goku, yada, yada, yada. And this dude just looks at her, says, turn into an egg. And then she drops to it, and he gets up, stomps her out, and then go back and just keeps on reading. In front of her kids and everybody there, like, dude, this is the hardest dude I've ever seen in my life. And he is a G for that. Like, definitely my favorite moment in Dragon Ball Z, but there's a million of Dragon Ball Z moments. Like, we could talk forever about how great it was, but continue, Gage.
Dig it. We're gonna talk about some of our favorite women in pop culture. Obviously, for I'm assuming, and that you're the one who decided to do this. So obviously, Boma.
Yeah,
You know what
Boma.
I'm saying? Is
Sure, you give
who
Boma
you-
some love since it is, Women's Appreciation Month. Like, she is Richie Rich and runs like all the technology in that show now. She has come a long way from Capsule Corp just being a thing to where it's like a huge, like, everything is run by them. Everything. And she's at the helm of all of it. Like, she's a genius. She's married to Vegeta.
still super weird.
I know, it's just still it's still weird seeing them two together, lovingly together, and with two kids. Like, he's the guy that came originally to destroy the planet, and now whooped your ex-boyfriend and took you. Like, it's just crazy. But like, she is a huge linchpin in that show, and a lot of stuff they couldn't do in that show without her. Period, point blank. From going to other planets to creating the ships they fly around, and she's the grease behind everything that they need to get done in Dragon. With the Dragon Radar, like
she made that jump.
yeah, like you can't do anything without her in that show. So, boom.
Jokes, did you have somebody you want to drop them in the thing? I know,
I can,
you like running in hot from work.
I can just say like it's still in the anime realm, but I feel like I may have said her once before. I don't remember, maybe even said, but Mikasa from Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is honestly one of my top 5 animes just period ever. It was the one that made me go and just read the manga and just couldn't wait for the show. But she probably one of the coldest fighters that you could just find in any anime. Like, with her, it was on site, especially if you insulted Eren or you came at Eren, it was on site with her in a heartbeat. She would take on any challenge, no matter how big, no matter how small the foe was. So whether it was her taking on the Titans or, taking on regular humans in whatever shape or form, as we get later in the season, she having to fight her own friends because of how certain events turn out. And because her closest friends were in trouble, she didn't care who you were. She was going to cut you down to make sure she got what she needed. In fact, Attack on Titan has elite women all through the whole entire thing. Honestly, most of them were a lot of the linchpins in certain events that happened throughout the whole series, and without them, a lot of things would not have moved the way that they did. But Mikasa is one of my all-time favorites.
I dig it. I'm gonna go way left. Way left. So Sarah Connor. Let me tell you about what might be the greatest arc for a female character, period. This joint goes from damsel in distress
to I will
to I
kill
wish
you.
you would.
One of the most
Slim.
that version has one of the most iconic scenes in cinema history, dog.
Bruh, Sarah Connor, dog, I don't think gets anywhere near enough love. This is Tomb Raider. That's Lara Croft. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is, bro. Like, Slim. She was a straight up G. Period. Not getting my baby. You're not getting my future baby. Her son is the original Trunks. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? My man came back in time.
No, look, as soon as he said it, I saw the path right there.
Hey,
I was
listen,
like, okay.
it don't literally click into me.
Android going back and forth from the future to the okay.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You know, like, this is all happening at the same time that technically the show of Dragon Ball is on, but the mangas already exist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a whole time travel. The time travel conundrum that is Terminator is something we will not get into right now. What I will tell you is if I'm picking teams,
That's
a threat.
and they can't have powers,
That's a threat.
That's threat right there.
That's one of those you mentioned. Yeah, I'm picking Sarah Connor. Other team like, damn, I didn't think about that one. Give us a second. We gotta regroup.
It's one of those things again, like on that note, when you talk about just the reach that Toriyama's creations have had that like people don't even really realize. I stole some of my posts from this weekend. Cause again, I'm not like I watched Dragon Ball because Sin said so. Like that's not even like we're not going. It's a fact. It is a fact. And even then, I was like, dog, I'm not watching this. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't about like whether the show was good or not. It was the sheer number of episodes Slim was trying to make me watch. Like that's all it really is. It's really technically the same thing with One Piece.
Here you
know
go.
what I mean?
Watch all of these. Watch all of these.
Yeah, but the first time with Dragon Ball, it was all VHS joints. And I was like, nah,
okay.
Dog.
So watch all of these.
Like a joke. That's more like a joke.
Happened, dog. But listen, let me tell you what he did. Let me tell you my Dragon Ball story right fast because now that you bring that up, so I'm gonna tell you exactly what he did. Nah, I mean, I guess like Sarah Connor comes back as the old Sarah Connor, as long as she's still a threat. You know what I mean? Like we'll take the Amelia Clark joint. I take that Amelia Clark over the Super Scroll Amelia Clark all day. Respect to Chi-Chi, no doubt. Like when me and Sin talked about this earlier today, Chi-Chi's name was like the first joint I brought up. Like, cause she just dealt with it all. Dealt with
big facts.
Raising a child by herself, kind of
raising two kids by herself.
Basically, yeah.
Hey, nah, Piccolo was the one that had to step.
Yeah, he's pretty much a grandfather now.
Hey, listen, Piccolo threw Gohan out in the wild. It was like, listen, you gonna become a man out here.
Go get it. which also is not great parenting. But like, yeah, but so Sin shows up and it's like, here, you need to watch these. And I'm like, I'm not watching these, dog. It's not happening. So that's what he does. He gives the jounce to Zaina's mother, who at the time was not Zaina's mother, and is like, you watch these joints. So now, she's like, all right, I'm gonna watch these joints. Hey, dog, if you don't get these tapes
He figured out a way.
out my yeah, just always just try a little, you know what I'm saying? Just the Weasel News Network. Just, you know what I'm saying?
He got him.
Facts, bro. But again, on that note, it's not that I didn't care. It's like when I really started paying attention to it, I started paying attention to everything else that was like, oh, they stole this, right? So again, just stealing notes from my stories this weekend. Let's keep it a buck. Without Toriyama, there's no Sonic.
Hey.
When Sonic went supersonic the first time, I never heard of Dragon Ball. Didn't know what it was. The first time I saw Goku go Super Saiyan, I was like, wait a minute. Man. You wait just a cotton picking minute. Oh, hold on. Because
Super Saiyan,
it wasn't
Sonic.
Dog, it's not just as simple as that, bro. I want you to understand that in order for Sonic to go for him to turn into Supersonic, he had to collect all 7 of the Chaos Gems. Like he had to collect all the gems, like collecting all the Dragon Balls in order to be able to go Supersonic. Hey, dog, it's like I'm like they just not that like Dragon Ball isn't like the best retelling of a story that's already told. Like we're not gonna like overshadow the fact that Journey to the West is an old story retold in Dragon Ball in their own way, right? So the fact that like you can take something that already exists and successfully make it new, make it your own, and then add so much there's no Majin Buu in Journey to the West, dog. It's not a thing. You know,
but he is a thing.
That's not a thing, bro. The first time Trunks shows up, we have to have a moment.
Hey, bro.
It's the first time Trunks shows up.
Hey,
and I'm going to keep that a buck because Slim comes out of nowhere.
Hey, bro.
Looking like Cloud Strife with a sword on his back. Hey, you know what I'm saying? And like Final Fantasy VII. Cloud Strife is Zack, which is Teen Gohan and Super Saiyan Teen Gohan. Like, that's what it is. The greatest RPG of all time for most people. Straight stolen. But mind you, again, Toriyama, without him and his work on Dragon Quest for Square doesn't get to a point where they make Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, appreciate that. Jeff, good to see you. Like his work on Dragon Quest, which is so popular in Japan that they literally are like, this game cannot come out during a weekday. Nobody will go to school. So we have to it has to be a separate thing, right? Like you can't do it. It is that big of a deal. There is more to the legacy that is Akira Toriyama than just Dragon Ball, like clearly, right? There is Dragon Quest. He's done other properties. There's, again, like you said, Jokes, Blue Dragon. But like without Dragon Quest, you don't really get a Final Fantasy. Therefore, you don't get Cloud. Without Final Fantasy, you don't get Kingdom Hearts. You know what I mean? Which is like
pieces to the puzzle just being
like you don't have Sonic. You don't like you might not have Terminator and Sarah Connor for real. Which, if not for Sarah Connor, you probably don't have Lara Croft. Like there are so many ties to what the legacy is because Akira Toriyama's work did have an effect on so many creators, so many people specifically, that like it's one of those things you just can't ignore it. Even if you think you're ignoring it, even if I thought I was ignoring it, I was playing things or watching things that came from people who were clearly watching and copying or mimicking or doing something with his work. And it's almost impossible to be somebody who is 35 and under who doesn't know what that is just because of Toonami. And to be honest, Toonami probably doesn't work for Cartoon Network at all, if not for Dragon Ball. Like, period. And if that doesn't happen, Adult Swim doesn't happen.
Mhm.
And so when you start thinking about all that stuff, Aqua Team Hunger Force, C Lab 2020, Samurai Jack eventually ending up there, like getting a chance to come back and finish its season via Adult Swim on Cartoon Network, like it is, you can't overestimate the effect, specifically Dragon Ball, but Toriyama and his work as a whole has had on so many parts of so many industries that we touch and watch and enjoy every day in pop culture. And so,
Dragon Ball so big in Mexico, the Mexican cartel had a ceasefire.
Hey, the Mexican
Correct.
cartel.
Yeah.
Like,
correct. I mean, not just that. I mean, if it was like 2 years ago, when they were like 2019, when they were getting ready to do like the last couple episodes of Dragon Ball Super.
the fight between him and Jiren. Yeah,
Jiren.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
And Mexico they were streaming the episodes, showing the episodes in large venues in Mexico, and Toei Animation tried to shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, like, the Japanese embassy in Mexico tried to step in to like, nah, y'all can't do this. And
San Juan, I think with San Juan specifically, they're the ones that went to Toei and was like, please, like, let us.
Yeah, so the mayor of the city,
right,
went to the embassy, talked to them, worked out a deal to allow them to show it to, it was like 19,000 people, something like that like showed up, to watch technically what was going to be the end of, what was supposed to be his work at the time. But I also just think, Toriyama as a whole, for all intents and purposes, was young, 68, is considered young these days. And for him to pass away the way he did is just another one of those reminders to just make sure that you love on the people you got, tell them how you feel, spend time with your loved ones and so forth, because it is a reminder, I think, for a lot of people that it can happen to anybody. So it certainly can happen to you or to the people that are closest to you. And so, as that's probably one of the biggest takeaways. But I just think we all owe a debt of gratitude. Argentina had a bunch of people. I mean, again, it's happening. Like, there's a bunch of football players, soccer football players who were doing the Ginyu Force join, and it's it just, again, it's like wrestlers coming out and doing the fusion, like it just, and the thing about it is, it's like there are people who didn't watch Dragon Ball, they still know what that is. Like, they know
the impact. They know that impact that it did.
What that is. They're whole like workout gear, Saiyan gear, just form-fitting outfits that look like Vegeta's outfit. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people talk about like their favorite moment from Dragon Ball, and usually it's some devastating hit or some devastating attack or whatever. And I talk about Trunks showing up. I'll tell you right now, when Piccolo took that armor off, oh, you for real out here.
Hey, bro, when they all did that,
when he dropped that weighted armor off and was like, hey, no, for real, I'm just playing with you. That is basically what the story is for the rest of the time. Yeah, Killmonger's movie outfit, 100%. Like,
bro, that the armor dropping to anyone, like when Goku did it for the first time, like in Dragon Ball, and Tien went to go pick it up, and he's just like, what is this? He's like, yeah, I just had to drop some heavy stuff so I can be a little bit quicker. I mean, Tien was shaking in his boots.
Also, real quick, shout out to Chaozu, because wasn't nobody showing Chaozu no love. And I just feel like, come on, man. Yeah, I mean, like, he don't even got nothing to say. He just got to show up. Let's show Chaosu some, you know what I'm saying?
Chaosu.
Respect that name.
Yeah, I've been told Z Chaosu was a threat. When it came to he was a threat.
Well, I'm about to find
saying.
out. I'm about to revisit Z and Dragon Ball. I've actually never watched the original Dragon Ball. I've only watched Z.
That Red Ribbon Army,
Hey,
baby.
listen,
Yeah.
the Dragon Ball side. I didn't watch it until after probably like midway through Z was when I finally started to watch Dragon Ball.
Mhm.
Somehow I never put two together that there was a series beforehand. But then once they started like making reference to certain things and showing like the quick clip of like Goku as a child or that was like that was when I first realized like, oh, there was another
Right.
series before this. And then I went back and
100%.
started.
100%. Shout out to Akira Toriyama. May he rest in peace. Before we go, I'd like to poke at your brains with a new segment I'd like to call Mark My Words. I've had multiple conversations with people over the last like 2 weeks about streaming services, what's happening with them, where I think it's going, the panic that people seem to be in about physical media, what that means. And while I honestly think, again, that like streaming services, not that they're going away, but like the majority of them are going to go away in some fashion, right? Because it's not sustainable. There's just too many places. And if you're an IP owner, if people aren't subscribing to whatever your service is when you took back control of your IP to put them on your service, then the money you need to make is in licensing those properties out to the streaming services that do have the followers and so forth. So I think that bubble's going to burst. But here's what I think is going to happen. In the realm we're in, where advertising is king, just it is what it is. TV has always been based on advertising. Movies have, as long as I've been alive, had trailers on the beginning of them. There's advertisements for other films in front of the film. You're going to see it just is what it is, right? The way that these services make money is through ads. We talked like last week, might have been a week before, about Walmart buying Vizio as a company so that they can literally put the ads directly on your TV. If you have a Samsung, you have an LG, you have a Roku box, an Apple TV, they are running ads for their products on the product that you already have in the house by piping it in through the internet that you're paying somebody else for. Mark my words, jokes. We are going to see, if not this year, probably within the next 2, somebody's going to decide, here's our new show. There's 13 episodes. We are releasing them 1 episode a week, right? However, you can pay a fee to unlock the next episode if you want to watch it now. You don't have to wait. You can pay a fee to unlock the entire season and binge them all right now. It's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Because the only thing that they're concerned about when they do something like that is, can they keep you? Can they keep you for another 13 weeks to get an extra $20 out of you to keep you in the service while you're watching the show? Right? I'm going to tell you right now, there's already talk of them considering charging people who leave a service and resubscribe to a service. So like if you're I'm watching the show now because this is my show. When the next season comes out, I'll just resubscribe and I'll watch the season and I'll I'll binge it in a weekend or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll back out. They don't want you to do that. There's already talk of there being like a resubscribe fee. They gotta do something. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Somebody's gonna be like, here's this great show. You know what I mean? People are raving about the first episode, blah, blah, blah. But you don't have to wait until we put it out. You can pay us to unlock it. It's gonna be like video games. It's gonna be like unlocking the DLC for a show that you've technically already paid for. You just get to unlock it early. Now it becomes accessible to you early. It's coming. I don't know who's gonna do it first, but I will tell you that as streaming services that aren't doing as well begin to fall off,
Mm-hmm.
and the control of all the IP that are licensed to Netflix or YouTube or Amazon, which are likely to be your front runners, right? As that happens and they have that control and there's nowhere else to go to watch stuff. Not that they don't already have plenty of stuff for you to watch. So you don't have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then they create the FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Right.
Well, man, if somebody jumps in and they pay for this and they watch the whole thing, they might spoil it for me. I won't be able to talk about it with them. What if, you see what I'm saying? And that's going to create it where other people will just be like, and that joint was good. I'm about to just, I ain't doing that this weekend. I'm just cleaning the house. I'm about to just go ahead and do it. In the same way that there were people who paid, myself included, the additional fee to be able to watch a movie that was going to the theater at the same time, but like you could pay $30 to have it right now on Disney Plus, or you could go to the theater and watch it, or you could do both, right? We're going to charge you that additional fee so that you can have access to watch it at home early.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming. It's coming. Mark my words. That's where I'm at. Jokes.
Mm-hmm.
You got a job to do.
Yes, sir.
Saying while he's doing his job, if you would, please.
Yeah, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, and Kermit Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
We certainly do. As we talk about streaming services and what it's costing people and what they're paying, it is not lost on us that there are many of you who do the same thing for us. Like you pay us, and we greatly appreciate it. For those of you who tune in here, you could have spent your last hour and a half watching any other thing, playing a game, whatever it was. We appreciate you spending that time here with us. Again, it means the world to us. We're glad to have you. It's always great to see your names pop up in the chat, on the screen, and so forth. Warms our hearts, and that is truly true. Look out for content coming from us throughout the week. Interviews and so forth that we shot while we were at Awesome Con. Keep your eyes peeled to our Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and so forth. TikTok, for a lot of that content. Next Monday, we'll be having our discussion for the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That'll be at 8 o'clock next Monday. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that yet, please watch it and then join us for the conversation. If you've seen it enough times and you feel like you're well versed, you don't have to go watch it again, but you know, maybe you want to. So you know, there's probably no Mr. and Mrs. Smith because there's no Tomb Raider. And therefore, Angelina Jolie doesn't become an action star for them to put her in that. And that doesn't happen without Terminator, which doesn't happen. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I want you to, you know what I mean? I want you to understand what that legacy really is. Again, we do have some more conventions coming up. Just keep your eyes peeled. Schedule is busy and it's hectic. But we'll keep coming back right here for you guys. There's a new episode of the Finisher podcast going up Saturday, right, Jokes?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. And starting a new series this Thursday
Yep.
for Thriller Park, right, Sin?
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Sounds wonderful. Again, we're keeping busy. There was mention of Beats and Beatdown, so you know, Doctor Who, the next con. Funny you should mention that. Right now it looks like our next convention is going to be Big Lick. We were asked to shoot them an email so that we could come and do, I believe the words were, whatever y'all want. Just shoot me an email, tell me what y'all want to do, and we'll make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, I believe, April 13th
13th and 14th.
and 14th at the Dulles Expo Center in Chantilly. I don't know why it's not Dulles. Even though it's the Dulles Expo Center, it's in Chantilly. But I believe that's technically next, though we do have Maryland Day coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend on the 23rd. So there is that. We'll talk more about that next week. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us this evening, tuning in, for spending some time when you could have been somewhere else. For myself, for Jokes, for Sin, I'm going to have Jokes tell you what I need you to hear.
Remember, y'all, just because you have a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
It's a fact. With that, we're out. Toodles and lose.
Loading snacks.